Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing really great and ready for another video. Now today's video topic is a question that's quite commonly asked, but nobody has really given a definitive answer, and that's most likely because there are several reasons as to why Narcissa Malfoy never became a Death Eater, like her husband, son and sister. So what was it that held Narcissa back? Was she truly as loyal as her husband was? Did she even have any interest in serving Voldemort as his Death Eaters have so valiantly? Well, in today's video I'm going to go into detail and analyse exactly why Narcissa's arm still remains absent of the Dark Mark, and I'll be answering the questions I've mentioned moments beforehand. With that being said everyone, welcome back to the Wizarding World, make yourself comfy and enjoy today's video. Okay everyone, let's get things started by first looking at Narcissa herself as a person, which will hopefully help us understand why she made the decisions she made when part of Voldemort's inner circle. Now, Narcissa, as many if not all of you know, came from the noble and most ancient House of Black, a family that were avid supporters of keeping the magical bloodlines pure, and this was a belief that they heavily instilled upon their children. Now, I made a video on Narcissa and her two sisters last month, and I explained how each sister made choices that affected the outcome of their futures. I mentioned that Narcissa got it right, her life choices that is. She married the right man, with the appropriate background, and in addition to that, she genuinely loved him. Narcissa always seemed to make the choices she wanted to, without offending those who expected such a high standard from her. She was extremely clever and played her role with excellence, which brings us to her involvement with Lucius and the new, rising, upcoming Lord Voldemort. You have to understand, at the beginning of his arrival on the scene, nobody had any idea of the lengths this man would go to or was about to go to in order to achieve his goal of wizarding dominance. Lucius was a prime candidate for Voldemort. He had the prosperity, the wealth, the huge mansion, not to mention the skill. He was one of the earliest Death Eaters, at least to receive the Dark Mark, and Narcissa, with her upbringing, obviously supported her husband's ambitions to aid those seeking to restore purity to the magical world. That's what this Voldemort was all about at the beginning. Then of course, things changed. Nobody could have foreseen how truly horrific this man was, or the things he'd do, let alone Narcissa. I believe that there was a time when she was considering taking the Dark Mark and joining the Inner Circle as a proper member. Her sister Bellatrix would have urged her to do so, no doubt, and you think that Lucius would have done the same, but I honestly don't believe that's the case. Lucius knew what was expected of him as Voldemort's second in command. He knew he had to kill opposing wizards and witches. He knew he had to use intimidation, manipulation among many other things in order to give the Death Eaters and Lord Voldemort the advantage that they needed. If I'm honest, Lucius seen that as something of an ends justifying the means kind of perspective. He didn't want his wife, the mother of his young child, doing anything of the sort. He didn't want a burden of murder, torture and war placed upon his wife's mantle. As much of a bigot as Malfoy was, one thing I don't believe anyone can question is his love for his family. Then there's what happens when one fails a mission as a Death Eater, when one makes a mistake, a costly mistake. The punishment is severe. Voldemort does not accept failure because he's never failed at anything himself. Can you imagine what he would have done to Narcissa, a woman who lacks the unwavering ability to do harm unto others, without a moment's hesitation, if she had not been successful in any of her missions as a Death Eater? That's exactly what Lucius feared most, and it's something we've seen even after his return to service. His main priority was his family's safety, something Voldemort was all too well aware of. It's that exact reason why the Dark Lord allowed Narcissa to remain close to Lucius during numerous Death Eater meetings. Narcissa secured Lucius' loyalty. Voldemort knew that if Lucius were to ever betray him or not invest himself fully, then Narcissa and Draco would be the first targets, and easy targets at that. I also mentioned that Lucius didn't want his wife to commit the awful crimes that were associated with so many Death Eaters, but in truth, Narcissa wasn't interested in that kind of lifestyle anyway. She didn't have the aggressive nature of her sister. She also didn't want to commit her life to Lord Voldemort. Don't forget, taking the Dark Mark means a lifetime of servitude to the Dark Lord. There was no backing out or retiring after a few years. I think the fact that in most cases, many would have volunteered to be a Death Eater, and the Dark Lord would filter out those who were unworthy. I can't exactly see him offering the Dark Mark to someone. After all, that's an honour that everyone should want. Narcissa's commitment was to her husband, but most importantly her son. That's where her true loyalty lay. Even if she was considering becoming a full Death Eater during Voldemort's first reign, that quickly ended on his return to power when she had to bear witness to his brutal treatment of her husband for his failure to retrieve the prophecy. Lucius was constantly humiliated by his master and pushed right back down the pecking order. Narcissa even went behind Voldemort's back to secure Draco's safety when he was being set up to fail in order to further punish Lucius. She then blatantly lied over Harry Potter's death, which all but confirmed her allegiance to Voldemort was now null and void. Even at the Battle of Hogwarts, she had no interest in fighting students and familiar faces. She spent her time looking for Draco, trying to make sure he was alive, and when she did find him, she gave him her own wand to protect himself with, leaving herself without one. She actually played her part so well that Voldemort genuinely believed her when she said Harry was dead. Him performing the Cruciatus curse was a means of confirming that she was not mistaken. The Dark Lord expects his Death Eaters, his servants, to make servitude to him their most important priority over everything else, and Narcissa was not willing to do that. The truth of the matter was, Narcissa never fully invested in Voldemort or the Death Eaters. She was simply playing her role as she had done her entire life. She was told to keep the bloodline pure and marry a pureblood from another family. She did that. Support her husband through all of his decisions, ups and downs. She did that too. And honestly, that's because she could do those things without compromising her own morals. However, when it came to her husband and son's safety, Narcissa's true strength emerged, and in the end, there was no family belief or upbringing that could waver her motherly instinct. She had seen what full devotion to the Dark Lord had done to her sister Bellatrix, and she had also seen what full rejection of the Dark Lord had done to her other sister Andromeda with the murder of her husband. Narcissa was always thinking ahead, and I honestly feel like she doesn't get the credit she deserves for the situation she was in, especially with how skeptical Voldemort was of everyone who followed him. As I said earlier, once she had Draco and Lucius safe and sound, then nothing else mattered. She had no concern for Voldemort's whereabouts or what was happening with him, and that was before he was actually defeated. She left with Lucius and Draco unaware of the outcome, further evidence that the Death Eater lifestyle was one she never wanted. So guys, with that being said, that is my video on why Narcissa Malfoy never received the Dark Mark and never became a Death Eater. So my question for you is this: are there any other reasons you believe yourself as to why Narcissa never became a Death Eater? Did I leave something out? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching again. Have a great day, and always remember, be happy and be kind. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate your support. Everyone, notifications of uploads are more important than ever. So please, if you haven't already, turn those notifications on to make sure you're notified the moment my video goes live. Making videos is what I love to do. It's my dream and my passion. However, it does cost time and money to produce this content. So if you have $1 to spare to support me on Patreon in exchange for some exclusive unseen content, then you can click the Patreon link below or at the end of this video. Please only support me if you can afford it. And make sure to follow me on Instagram at InstaDNJ and on Twitter at PotterFolklore. Check out my other videos appearing on screen, and please make sure, most importantly, to hit that subscribe button. Thanks again everyone, and please have a great day.